What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. I think we are finally all the way done with running mud and the automatic tools, and we are moving on to sanding. So I figured I will do a video here shortly about the automatic tools and how they work. I wanted to get stuff done before I try and tell you guys how they work, because there's a learning curve, definitely a learning curve. But we've got some more drywall gigs coming up here in the near future, so we should be good to go as far as bringing back content to you guys, so that would be cool. But today we're going to talk about sanding. So I picked up a couple of things to hopefully make my life a little bit easier, so we're going to talk about those real quick. Alright, so we picked up a couple new things to hopefully make the sanding process go a little bit quicker out here and also be as dust free as possible. So we've had the CT26 for a while. I got that last year, probably around this time when I bought the K-Pax. So we're keeping this thing up and running. And just because I've got two sanders, I don't want to switch back and forth. This one takes the smaller hose, and then the Planex has its own hose that's kind of unique just to the Planex, so I didn't want to play the game of swapping hoses. That's why I've got two vacuums here. So this is the DTS 400, so this is the like triangular shaped guy, little detail sander. It works really good for doing all the corners. We're running like a 220 grit paper on it that is pretty good, and then we're also running somewhere between like 1 and 2, so we're keeping the actual speed pretty low. As far as the vacuum goes, we've got the suction power turned down a little bit. This little thing is pretty impressive. If you have the suction all the way up on the vacuum, you can actually stick the sander straight to the wall, which when you're trying to sand drywall, you don't want to stay in one spot too long, so that can actually be more detrimental. So we've got it turned down just to a point where we can move the sander really easy, but it doesn't necessarily hold us up as far as like staying in one spot too long because it's suctioned to the wall. So that's our detail sander. That's what we use in the corners. It also works really good up top for like where all the corners meet to get that done. The mud runner leaves a couple ridges and humps where it gets started, so I'll have to sand those out and probably just do a little bit of touch up in all the corners. So moving on, the big part of the sanding process here is the Planex. So this is the Planex EZ. So it's the cheaper of the two. They have the original Planex is actually a little bit more expensive, but after playing with both of them in the store, I really like how I guess nimble you can be with this. It moves really nice. The other Planex, I don't have any experience actually running it, so I can't speak as far as that goes, but the other Planex just seemed a little bit stiffer. Didn't really like that as much. Now, the other Planex does have the benefit though that they sell an extension pole, so I think you wear like a harness, and the extension pole I think will get you out to like 12-foot ceilings or something like that, which is pretty cool. Unfortunately for us, when we're sanding the vault, we're just going to have to move the baker scaffold along and sand as we go. So, but this one, like I said, I like how the actual head moves. It's very quick and agile. We ran a little bit grittier paper. I think we ran like a 150 on some of the stuff where we had general purpose mud, because that's a little harder of a sand. But we've got a 320 grit paper on here right now. We're running the Planex on, it looks like setting 2, so once again, a little bit slower. We've got the vacuum settings maxed out, so it does the most amount of like filter cleaning as possible, and it also is on the highest suction, which seems to work really good with this. Even when you're like switching directions and stuff, there's no plumes or anything like that I've seen on Instagram with some of these other sanders, so pretty cool there. This one I have a slight mod done, so this one actually has the regular Planex pad, and then it also has a spacer on it. So Festool, as some of you guys know, that's really long. As some of you guys know, they have like an intermediate pad that you can put on. I also have one on this. And basically what that does is like when you beat up the paper, it doesn't beat up the OEM pads, if you will. So it's kind of like a spacer pad that you can beat the crap out of that, and it doesn't ruin the pad that is connected to the sander. So it basically extends the life of the original pad. But with the other Planex head mounted to this, you have to run the spacer because the Allen bolt doesn't quite countersink into the pad. But with the little spacer on it, it sits really nice. The dust bristles are pretty much right even with the pad, and it makes sanding go pretty easy. So pretty happy with this stuff so far. I'm gonna set up a little time lapse. We've got in the bedrooms, we lucked out. They're 12 by 12, so a 12-foot sheet went really far in here. So we've only got one vertical seam going around the entire room. We've got our 4 corners, obviously, and we've got 2 seams up on the ceiling. So I'm gonna try and get the GoPro shoved over in a corner somewhere where you can see as much of the room as possible, and I'll run both of these units and kind of show you what the sanding process looks like. All right, so if you stuck around this long, I will take you for a quick walk around the room here, and I'll show you what everything looks like. So I know probably a little hard to tell because, you know, you guys are on the other end of YouTube, but the little bit of a ridge, which was very, very minor to begin with, from the mud boxes is gone, and this is nice and smooth now. Same thing down here. You could actually see where the 12-inch box ran and the 10-inch box, and that's all smoothed out and nice. All the screw holes, I missed this wall on video. I just looked at it, so I have to come back and hit this one more time. Inside corners are done. Like I was saying, I've got a little bit of touch up to do in the very corner. You can see there's some little low spots and stuff, so I'm gonna have to put a little bit of mud up there, and then I'm gonna have to fix that paper where I spent too much time with the sander and put a little mud over that. You saw we got all the ceiling done, and so basically that was it. I think that the actual time that I was going around sanding was about like 25 minutes or so, with most of the time being spent in the corners with that guy. So that kind of does it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I've been in the mood lately to do lots of videos, so I'm gonna keep them coming. Really happy with the Planex so far. It's gonna make the sanding of this place a piece of cake. So thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Let me know if you guys have ever used a Planex before, and maybe you've used the original and you would have some notes about that. But I really like the Planex Easy and would recommend it to anyone that's trying to do a lot of drywall sanding in a short amount of time. Thanks for watching. I'm signing off.